And with us now, NBC senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen and former federal prosecutor Barrett Berger. Jonathan, the president has faced a lot of questions about his Epstein connections for years, frankly, but he has never answered them like this. How significant is this new revelation?
Well, I think it's important in terms of keeping the story alive. But if you look at the substance of what the president's saying, he's basically shifting his story. He's not mad at Jeffrey Epstein, didn't kick Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago because he thought that Jeffrey Epstein was, for lack of a better term, a creep. Instead, he kicked him out, he says, because he was unhappy that Epstein was taking employees from him. So it doesn't seem like it bothered him at all that Jeffrey Epstein was particularly interested in young women. You could see him there reluctantly sort of admitting that the employees that Epstein was interested in were young women working at the Mar-a-Lago spa.
Barrett, what are your thoughts on what we heard from the president and how it fits into the investigation?
I mean, if anything, it seems to raise more questions about the connection between Mar-a-Lago as potentially being a place where Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell were able to find the young women that were then trafficked. Again, I think the focus on all of this really needs to be, where are the facts lying here? Is there going to be transparency about this? And the one thing that we do know, I mean, there's a lot we don't know, but the one thing we do know is that this was a woman who was one of the most prominent victims of Epstein and Maxwell. She was very public about it. She suffered greatly. And the one thing you didn't hear from President Trump, you heard that, she was stolen, which is kind of an odd turn of phrase when you're talking about a person. But the one thing that you didn't hear was then any reflection or any acknowledgement of not only was she, stolen, but then she was really victimized and trafficked by Epstein and Maxwell, which I would have wanted to hear that as well.
Yeah, well, Giuffre says Maxwell did lure her from Mar-a-Lago, so it did seem to confirm that part of Giuffre's story. House committee has rejected Maxwell's request for immunity to come testify before lawmakers, but she did just talk to Trump's deputy attorney general for a couple of days. Do you expect the DOJ to release the transcript? Should they?
The transcript of the meeting between Todd Blanche
and Maxwell.
So I doubt that there was a transcript of this meeting. I would assume that there was notes that were taken. That would be the typical procedure for how these things. But as far as a word-by-word transcript, I don't think that there probably would be a transcript of these meetings. Do I expect them to release any sort of notes or, whatever the recording was of the meeting, whether it was notes or a transcript? No, I would not expect that. I think that would be highly unusual, although acknowledging that we are in highly unusual territory to start with. But particularly if they wanted to use this information for, future charges or to look into other third parties, then absolutely they should not release this information if they wanted to use it for investigative leads.
Jonathan, Trump keeps talking, and so far nothing seems to be satisfying his base. Let's listen to just some of the talk on podcasts popular with the MAGA base, including Joe Rogan and others.
We thought Trump was going to come in and a lot of things are going to be resolved. Yeah. We're going to drain the swamp. We're going to figure everything out. And when you have this one hardcore line in the sand that everybody had been talking about forever, and then they're trying to gaslight you on that.
He is rebuking the base, almost like spitting in their face.
Yeah. Trump is protecting other pedophiles.
Facts.
That's what it is.
Jonathan, how dangerous is this politically for the president?
It's very dangerous politically for the president to have basically figures in popular culture turning on him. But, when you dance with opportunists, they're going to look for other people to dance with later on in the night. And that's, I think, what's going on here. He, used these podcasters to help his political fortunes. And, now he is watching them take a sledgehammer to his knees on this issue. Nobody has accused Donald Trump of being part of a sex trafficking ring or anything like that. And yet these podcasters are out there basically, throwing shade at him and continuing the story, even the ones who were very supportive of him during his campaign, including Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn and others. So I think he's reaping a little bit of what he sowed here. He's somebody who elevated the Jeffrey Epstein issue. He's somebody who, basically said the Democratic leadership was covering for a pedophile ring for a long time. And now he's in charge of whether all that information comes out, and he's not putting it out. And that's getting thrown back at him.
Yeah, and he put people in these very prominent positions in the FBI who were some of the biggest voices fanning the Epstein conspiracies, like Bongino, like Kash Patel. So it's hard to make sense of some of these decisions. John Allen, Barrett Berger, thank you both very much.